Board of directors, there are three basic duties amongst the other duties that the board is supposed to perform, which is direct, evaluate and monitor, right? The directing happens obviously in terms of the organization's strategy, including IT strategy or any other strategy, evaluating of those strategy and monitoring of those strategic initiatives. And risk management and compliance definitely form part of all these three, right? So for example, you have organizations which operate under different committees. If you look at the governance and the board of directors, which are I would say taking charge of the governance, it forms different committees to look at different aspects. So there is an audit committee which takes the responsibility for the assurance. There is a risk committee which takes responsibility primarily on the risk and risk issues. My answer is look at compliance differently, look at risk management differently, but basically see it into the overall corporate governance at a umbrella level. There are certain sets of risks which we call as unrewarded risks, and there are certain sets of risks which are rewarded risks. Unrewarded risks are the ones that give you no reward for taking. There is no reward for taking a risk on your compliance issues. Right? There is no reward for taking a risk on security issues. So information security, fraud, these are the areas where the organizations need to put in place systems which are both manual, cultural as well as technology, which basically safeguard your value, safeguard the shareholder value. The primary objective of having these systems in place is safeguard those values. The other sets of risk is basically rewarded risk. There is a reward for taking those risks. Those are the risks which are typically your geographic expansion, your new market expansion, your new product launches, your new business initiatives. All those risks will give you an edge. The edge will depend on how better you manage risks related to those areas vis-a-vis your competitors, vis-a-vis your larger market. Most organizations are rushing into expansion, into different geographies, into different marketplaces. Some of these markets that Indian organizations are expanding are very, very regulated, highly regulated, and have very advanced and developed system as far as legal enforcement is concerned, far higher than what we have seen in India. For an organization to be able to succeed in such an environment, it's extremely important to understand, first of all, to understand the requirements of the local land. Because if you don't do that, if you want to be compliant with those laws, the first thing that you need to do is have an understanding. I know a company, a technology which is in technology space, which very consciously decided to limit their play as far as products are concerned in the Northern American region, simply because of the regulation that the Northern American region has around the products, and they are having higher play in the services, IT services field. So it's a very, very conscious decision taken that the risks which are associated with a product business could be far higher than the risk appetite that the company has. The second is purely the legal compliance. We are aware of the complex legal system that exists in India, but the enforcement is also a complex matter as far as Indian context is concerned. And again, the companies, the countries that I talked about, some of them have very, very evolved and developed systems as far as enforcements are concerned. Well, I also know one company which in their strategic plan had talked about certain numbers in a year's time from a particular geography, without understanding that it takes more than 6 months for them to even get their person in that country because of the legal restrictions around visas and so on and so forth. Survey which I came across very recently, and two of the top challenges in implementing any IT solution were, one is the implementation issues itself, the successful implementation of any tool, and the second was culture. These 2 points put together were covering almost 50% of the failures. So if you apply that to any GRC tool, I think there you go. You will encounter various challenges as far as the pure implementation of a system is concerned. And any CIO needs to really watch out for the comprehensiveness of the system, the change management that you will have to face in terms of usability of that system, the information. I think a lot of CIOs, a lot of organizations also miss the point on how much information and data do you really need. There's a plenty of information which is available. What information really needs to be fed to your executive management and to your board of directors or the decision makers is where the key to success lies. So your implementation has to really keep in mind the information which is required by the top management and how your tool supports that process. That's one. And second is pure culture. And when I say implementation, it's about competencies. It's about the user friendliness of the application. It's about the utility of the application. Have you selected a right tool? Right? Because again, the requirements vary from industries to industry. There are certain industries which want the tool to give them all the regulatory or all the compliance requirements as a one-stop shop. So how your tool addresses specific requirements of an organization. What competencies do you really need to have a successful rollout? And then the change management and the culture of organizations.